I think we are live. Yay! Yay! Live in the Kellie kitchen! Yay! Yay! We're here again! Safer inside. It's actually freezing here, Southern California. I know that is silly to a lot of you people in Wisconsin and Canada, but we're freezing our butts off here in Southern California, so we are doing some batch cooking. Welcome to the Kellie Kitchen. All of these recipes you can find on my website, thekellykitchen.com. And we're going to get started. So I'm not making any sweets tonight because I just figured, we take a little break from the keto sweets. I know that those are always so fun to make, but we are going to make three really great things. We're going to make my pumpkin sausage soup. You can make this with sweet Italian sausage, or you can make it with spicy Italian sausage. We were kind of getting out of the pumpkin phase, but we're going to revisit some pumpkin today. Hi, Amy. How are you? How are you? Tell me where you guys are from. Say hi. If you're watching this on replay, put replay in the bottom. I read all the comments, good and bad and critical and whatever. But I read them all, and I love hearing from you guys. It helps me. And if you have any suggestions, or if you want to learn how to do anything, or if you want to talk about anything, put it in the comments, and we'll revisit it later. So it's great seeing everybody so far. We're going to make the pumpkin sausage soup. We are going to make a spinach, feta, and mushroom quiche with an almond crust, an almond flour crust. And then we're going to make fathead dough, and that's nothing new for me and nothing new for us, but I am going to do it in the food processor. I've always sort of loathed to having to make it in the microwave where you have to melt it all, and then you have to use like some serious elbow grease. So I was practicing doing some batch cooking or some fathead dough in my food processor, and it really worked out. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So let's get started. We're going to start with the crust for the quiche, and I have a quarter of a cup of melted butter, and then I have 1.5 cups of almond flour, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of garlic powder. That is it. And we're going to just toss that all in there, and I'm going to use a fork. We'll use a fork to just fluff that all together. I used to do this in like a tart pan, so it was a much thinner sort of quiche. I guess you could call it more of a tart. You can do this in a regular pie tin, but regular pie tins tend to be a little bit smaller. So, hi, Rebecca. Rebecca, I'm so happy that you said something because you won the magnet last week. Okay, stop the presses. I didn't ever hear from you. I sent you a message. Rebecca, you won the magnet last week. So check your inbox and send me your address because you're getting the magnet. You guys, these are really cute little thing that I put together. It's just a cheat sheet of keto-friendly foods, and it's a magnet. And Rebecca Builder, is it Builder or Billner? You won this. So give me your address. So happy that I just saw you. I've been waiting to hear from you all week. Okay, back to our cooking. So I've got my almond flour and my butter sort of together, and you see how it sort of gets crumbly. We are going to use this. I love using just a glass dish. It's a little bit bigger than a regular pie tin, and it doesn't stick. The almond flour kind of tends to stick a little bit. You can add a little bit of psyllium husk if you wanted to get a little bit more texture. It's just a fiber that you could add to give you a little bit of more of a texture to your to your crust. So I've got my pie dough, and I'm just going to very quickly, I'm going to press it up the sides. So I have a little takes a lot longer than we have just in the oven, not baking wise, and not intensity wise. Like, it's not a difficult thing to make. It just takes 45 minutes in the actual oven. So I made 2, and I already have one made, and I'm going to show you that later. But we're going to put this crust in the, you see how I'm just sort of pressing that down? We're going to press that all the way down, and we're going to go all the way up at the sides. And this one, I've got my oven going at 350 degrees. So we're going to put this, as soon as I finish out we're going to evenly cover the whole bottom and go up the sides. It does not have to be fancy at all. And we've got our pie crust in our thing. We're going to put this in a 350 degree oven for 8 minutes. We're just going to get that cooking. We don't want to cook it the whole way because we'll cook it a full 40 minutes or 45 minutes longer when we put all of the other stuff in. In the meantime, we are going to jump ship, and we're going to actually start the pumpkin sausage soup. So I will turn that on high over here. I have got just a little bit of olive oil going on in my stock pot, heavy bottom stock pot. I did a little chopping before we got started. And so in my stock pot, I am going to add my onion, get that going. And I've got about a cup of onion, I've got about a cup of celery, and then I've got a little bit over a cup of bell pepper. I just used an entire bell pepper. I don't really know how much it was, but it was probably about a cup. And I'm going to get that to start softening in my pan. Meantime, let me tell you about my sausage. So I just got sort of a generic Italian sausage. We like this a little bit spicier. You can do mild, you can do sweet, but watch out for any sort of additives, any sort of sugar that they might add into it. So this was a hot Italian sausage. I like to buy Italian sausage in a brick, like ground beef. I buy in a brick. But they didn't have any of the bricks, so I bought the links, and I already took the casing off of one of them. But normally your sausage comes in the casing, and I took a pair of scissors and I just sliced the casing, and I'm just going to pull the casing off. I know it looks kind of gross, but I'm going to just pull that off of each of our sausage links, so that when we put it into ground it up, we can mash it with my handy dandy masher and get it nice and crumbly into our soup. So there you go. We'll just take all of those casings off. I'm going to just wash my hands real quick. As that, I can already smell the peppers and the onions. Those are going very nicely. And they're starting to soften. I'm going to rinse this. We'll use this for another thing in a few moments. So I'll take my spoon. My veg is starting to nicely soften. I really like to be just a one pot kind of gal. I go through a lot of dishes, and my lovely, lovely boyfriend and daughter help me and do most of them, but so I try to help them out and use as few dishes as possible. So instead of doing this separately, I'm going to cook my vegetables in here, and I am going to just add my sausage right on top, because why not? It's all going to be going together anyways. And I will use my handy dandy masher. Oh, hi, Bernie. There's my friend Bernie. She was out of power. Yikes, it's cold down there. I'm glad you got power back. So we're gonna use this masher. I got this on Amazon. Again, I don't know really what it's called, but I call it a smasher or smashola, and it was like $10 or something like that. So anyways, I'm just gonna go in here and I'm gonna mash my sausage. And it's gonna just get mixed in with all my vegetables. This is a one-pot meal. And the reason that I am kind of doing all this back, obviously we're not eating all this stuff for dinner, but this pumpkin sausage soup is perfect for the freezer. So we're batch cooking and it's gonna go into the freezer, and we're not even gonna actually eat that tonight. We're gonna eat the quiche tonight. And then the quiche, also great for the freezer. So that's what's happening tonight. So I mentioned a second ago, I got a little crazy, that Rebecca won the food magnet. I just love this little magnet so much. So I am gonna give another one away. So one of them's going to Rebecca, but if you would like to win this cute little magnet for your refrigerator, I have them, whoops, upside down. I have them for sale on my website. So if you want the link, I'll give that to you. But put in the comments keto foods or something like that. Cute keto food, something like that. And I will pull a winner. Last week we had over 100 people participate in this giveaway, and I want to offer this to you guys. So if you're inclined, say cute keto foods, and I'll put you in the drawing for that magnet, and I'll send it out to you. Okay, so our sausage is starting to brown up. Our veg is starting to really soften. I'm going to add a couple more things. So I'm going to add a little bit of garlic. This is 2 teaspoons of garlic or 2 cloves. That in. And give that a little bit of a mix. I haven't made this in a long time, but any of these flavors taste so, I dropped something, taste so delicious together. And the pumpkin and the little bit of cream, they just sort of marry together. And then you've got, again, we like the spicy sausage, so it's a great, I don't know, it's a great mix. Okay, while that's still doing its thing, I'm going to take my big skillet. See, I got a lot of stuff going on here. I'm going to turn my big skillet on. It's got about a tablespoon of olive oil on here. Let me just turn this way so you can see a little bit better. Can you see that? Yeah. We're going to get that olive oil heated up a little bit, and we're going to get the stuff for the quiche going. Kind of all happening at the same time. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, whenever I see a Fathead dough recipe, I've never really heard about saving it for later. Well, last weekend I made a double batch of Fathead dough in the food processor, and I didn't do anything with it. I just put it in my refrigerator and let it sit. There's our crust. Let me grab that and I'll get back to you and tell you 1 second. So the crust is cute. It's just cooked just enough, just a little bit, okay? So we're gonna let that just cool off to the side here while we do all the other stuff. I was telling you something. I totally lost train of thought. Sorry. I'll get back to it in a second. Okay, so I've got my, it'll come back to me, I promise. Oh, Fathead dough. So I left it in my fridge for like 5 days, and then I was like, oh, I got to do something with this Fathead dough, and I made bagels with it. And normally I use Rosette's bagels, but I made bagels with this Fathead dough, and it was great after 5 days of making it. So you can batch cook it, and you can leave it in your refrigerator or your freezer. So on to our next thing. I have got, turn that down. I have got my skillet going here. I've got a half of a yellow onion. We're going to get that going. And this is good because we can let our pie crust sort of cool down a little bit. And our soup is still sort of simmering, or the sausage is still cooking. We'll add some stuff to that in a minute. And then our onion over here is going to start softening. Again, I'm kind of a one pot kind of gal, and you're supposed to kind of like make the onions and then make the mushrooms separately. We're just going to dump those right inside there. So I had just a package of pre-sliced mushrooms, half of a yellow onion, and then we're going to also add some spinach when it is time. You guys know that I love shopping my fridge. So I had a jumbo thing of feta cheese, and I had a jumbo thing of eggs. And I was like, what are we going to make on Monday night? We're going to make quiche. So that's kind of how I work. I talked about this on Sunday or Saturday. I went live in my Facebook private group. I'd love for you guys to join. While this is still going, we're just going to keep talking. So I have a private Facebook group. If you guys want to join, I'd love to have you. It's called Low Carb Work Lunches and Snacks. Don't ask me why I picked that name, but it's apparently a very popular name. So go to Low Carb Work Lunches and Snacks and ask to join the group. And in that group, I share my meal plans. I share the process around meal plans. And I would love to have you and ask questions and all that sort of stuff. So back to our soup. So I have a can of 100% pure pumpkin. This is 15 ounces. And I like to buy this in bulk during like Thanksgiving and Christmas because I have a really hard time finding it the rest of the year. So I have about 5 or 6 more cans of this. Even though we're kind of getting out of pumpkin season, I think during the winter and the fall, pumpkin is perfectly appropriate. And again, this is a great, great soup to batch cook and put in the freezer for those times when you don't feel like cooking. You pull out a thing of soup from the freezer, add a salad to it, and voila. Okay, so we've got our pumpkin mixed in with all of our vegetables there. There are a lot of vegetables in this soup, so it's a very chunky, hearty soup. We're going to keep letting our quiche cook and mix around. We'll get those mushrooms to start wilting. The soup has like 5 or 6 different vegetables in it. And that's kind of why I love it so much. So next we're going to add a large head of cauliflower. You can skip this if you don't want it. But I think it adds a nice chunkiness to our soup. And we will stir all of this in here. Get it nice and mixed up. I'm kind of doing a little bit of a batch cook, but I'm also cleaning out my fridge as well. I had a lot of chicken stock. So we've got our pumpkin, our cauliflower, and our sausage all kind of going in there. But I have so much chicken stock. So we are going to add 5 cups of chicken stock. There is 1 cup. this chicken stock is so amazing. It's I don't know if you guys can see, it's very gelatinous, and that means it's filled with a lot of collagen, and that will melt in our soup. So we'll turn that up. I need to put one more cup in here. Not to worry, I have plenty of chicken stock. And I keep this in my freezer. And I just pull it out when, I make my rotisserie chicken, and I have extra bone broth that comes when I make the rotisserie chicken. So we'll just clean that out, the measuring cup of the chicken stock. We're going to let the soup come to a boil here. And as soon as it comes to a boil, we're going to add all of that kale. And then we'll let all those flavors sort of mesh together. Can you guys see this? The mushrooms and the onions are beautifully caramelized. I'm going to add, so this is half of a bag. This is a 10-ounce bag, so about 5 or 6 ounces of spinach. It looks like a lot, but don't worry, it wilts down to almost nothing, and that's fine too, because it's going to just add the nice green to our quiche. So we'll just mix that together and let the spinach sort of wilt down. You can do this part in advance if you want, and then just set it off to the side to cool it, and kind of do these things all, as they come. Our soup is starting to have a nice simmer to it. And as soon as that starts to simmer a little bit, I have, again, you don't have to add this, and actually adding these fibrous greens does add a lot of not a lot of carbs, but it adds carbs. So every single one of these vegetables that you add to this pumpkin sausage soup adds carbs. They have a lot of fiber as well, and they're really good for you. So I don't have a real problem adding these, because I feel like you get the nutrients and you get the fiber. So we're going to add in, this is 4 cups of pre-chopped kale. Again, it's going to seem like a lot, and you're not going to know how it's going to all fit into the pan, but somehow it does. If you want to add more, you can, because it wilts down. So we're just going to press that in there and let that get all the flavors mixed all together. I'm going to give this a little taste here in a second, see if we need to add any salt. Sometimes my broth tends to be already salted enough. So if you're using store-bought or canned broth, you probably will need to add the salt that is called for in the recipe. Again, all the recipes are on my website, thekellykitchen.com, thekellykitchen.com, Kelly with an IE. And let's just take a little taste of this pumpkin sausage soup. Ah, perfect. Okay, it doesn't need any salt. It doesn't need any salt this time. It's absolutely fabulous. My soup is starting to come to a boil, so I'm going to just turn it down. And my spinach and onions and mushrooms are nice and wilted. You can see, nice and wilted. And now it's time to put our quiche together and get it in the oven. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move the soup to the back so everybody can still see what is going on. Turn this off, turn this off. We'll just push this. Yikes, sorry. We're gonna push the soup to the back. All of my burners are off. I almost burned the house down last week. Somebody like alerted me. Thank you. And now I have my crust, which has cooled down enough. Part of the quiche, so one of the things that I do with quiche when I'm shopping my fridge, it's like quiche is like my base. I can make it whatever flavor I want to make it. Sometimes it's going to be bacon and cheddar. Sometimes it's going to be asparagus and Gruyere. Sometimes it's going to be broccoli and cheddar. I just happen to have a lot of feta cheese, and we love this combination. But just know that this quiche, which is 1 cup of heavy cream and 4 eggs, that is your base of whatever your quiche is going to be. You can add what other vegetables you want or whatever cheese flavors you want to mix it up. If you want a quiche Lorraine, which is like a ham and cheese, or any of those vegetables that I mentioned, mushroom and Swiss. That's the idea of what we're trying to accomplish with keto, sort of easy thinking about it cooking. So I've got my 4 eggs here. I buy so many eggs, it's like I buy them in flats and I go through them. I've always got egg salad, and sometimes deviled eggs, sometimes quiche. A lot of my casseroles, it is sort of a base to them. I made my ham and egg cups last week. There are so many ways to eat eggs where I hear a lot of people talking about how sick they are of eggs, and I just mix it up. So they never actually are just like scrambled eggs. I make them in so many different ways that it never feels like a chore. It never feels like I'm getting bored because I can always mix it up. So I've got a cup of cream and 4 eggs here. I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper and a pinch of 2 pinches of salt. I didn't add any salt to my vegetable. Our feta tends to be a little bit saltier. So anyways, you decide how much salt you want to have in your thing. Okay, so we're going to do half of our vegetables on the bottom. You just kind of eyeball this. There's no right or wrong way to do this. We'll put those in there. And then we're going to do half of our egg mixture. Just all the way over on the bottom. Just sort of eyeball that. And then this is my jumbo thing of feta. I use this for salads. I have a couple different soups that I make with it. So I'm just going to do a light sprinkle, just a really light sprinkle of feta. And remember, feta cheese is pretty salty, so it's going to add a really nice flavor to that. Okay, so we've got our first layer, and now we're going to put our second layer. Just sort of get it so that every little area is covered. And I'm going to use most of these vegetables in this second layer. I'm going to save a few of the vegetables, and we're going to add them to the top so that you can see what you're actually, it's kind of it's just a prettier look to have the veg there. So, okay, so we'll put that there. You can make the crust bigger and add more of a crust, double recipe, or make it about 20% bigger so that it will go all the way up the side. But we are trying to cut the carbs. So I wanted to put the crust down, and your quiche is going to actually be a little bit bigger than the crust, and that's okay as long as you either use a glass pan or you use a pan and use lots of spray. Okay, so we're going to put the other half of our egg and cream mixture right on top. And then here's where I like to kind of gets a little pretty, where you get to just sprinkle in the mushrooms and the onions so that you can kind of see them on top of your quiche. This is great for, I love this quiche because I make it for like Easter brunch or like a ladies' luncheon, or it's great as leftovers. It's great hot or cold. And you can make so many different variations of your keto quiche. Okay, so we're gonna do one little last sprinkle of feta cheese right on top. Give it a nice sprinkle. And we're going to put this in a 350-degree oven for about 35 minutes, and then we're going to check it. And after the 35 minutes, you can decide if it is done, then you might want to turn the broiler on. But this is what our quiche is going to look like when we put it in the middle of our oven, 350 degrees. Setting the timer. It usually takes about 40 minutes to make this quiche. I'm going to set it for 35 just so I can take a look at it and see, you know, how it's coming together. Let's see who came to see me. It's so great to see everybody from all over. Hi, Amy Jo. I have two Amy Joes in my life, both my favorite people. And Peter Bromley, what are you being so funny? Peter Bromley is our friend. No, nobody was calling anybody a fathead. Okay, one more time before I get back to what I was doing. I have one more magnet. It's just a fun keto magnet. It's well, this isn't metal, so it doesn't stick to that. But it sticks to the refrigerator to remind you. It's a whole list, and then there's this area down here that says avoid sugar. So if you want a chance to win one of the Kellie Kitchen keto food magnets, put cute keto foods in the comments down below and tell me where you're from and all that sort of stuff, and I'll do a drawing. Last week we had over 100 people that were interested in winning one of these. So there you go. Okay, let's make fathead dough in the food processor. So I kind of loathe having to make fathead dough. Normally you make it in the microwave and you melt the cheeses together, and then you really have to do like a lot of elbow grease to get it work together. Well, I decided I was going to, I have all these gadgets and tools that literally I never use, and I figured, why not? I have these gorgeous utensils and small appliances. Why not use them? So I have a heavy duty Cuisinart here, KitchenAid mixer or whatever. And in my bowl, and what I found was that you have to double the recipe because there's this big blade that's going in there. And when you double the recipe, it's on the website under Fathead Dough or Fathead Pigs in a Blanket. I use this dough to make focaccia bread. I use this dough to make calzones. I use this dough without the garlic salt. I use it to make cinnamon rolls, and I use it to make pizza, and I use it to make bagels. So why not make a double batch? And so you don't have to do all the work. You don't have to do double time. You do it all at the same time. So in my bowl here, I have 3 cups of mozzarella cheese. I have 4 tablespoons of softened cream cheese. And this is so easy, and I love this because we're just going to dump it all into one bowl. And then I have 1.5 cups of almond flour. 1 teaspoon of, I'm sorry, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder and a half a teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to just add 2 eggs. Boom. Boom. I think that's the 12th egg I've used today. Yikes, I use a lot. It's okay. I love them. They're no carb. We're going to put our lid on. Everything is inside our deal here. And we're going to put it on pulse. We're going to pulse it a couple times just to get the wetness starting. And then we're going to turn it on dough or just turn it on. And we're going to watch this go into our dough. So I'm going to, it's going to be done here in like 2 seconds. So I am going to just scrape down the sides. If you have never had Fathead dough before, it's super easy. And, you know, the only interesting, if you do it this way, it's super easy. And the only interesting ingredient is almond flour. We're just going to do a quick pulse one more time. Or not pulse, but we're going to turn on one more time. And we will take this off. You could probably just leave it in the container if you wanted to. I'm going to move this over here so you guys can see this. All my burners are off. And I have some, I buy parchment paper by like the shipload. I love parchment paper. So I just buy it in these cute little sheets. I get them on Amazon. I just like them better than the roll. You can spray this with an olive oil, or I just like to just sprinkle a little bit of olive oil on here. Just a sprinkle. Wait, did somebody just ask me something? Somebody just asked me something. Do you put a leavening agent in the dough, like baking powder or baking soda? Not in this one. Sometimes I do, like for the focaccia bread, I will add that. But just for the basic Fathead dough, I don't add it. You can if you want, but I don't always. Do I shred the mozzarella cheese or do I buy it shredded? I always feel like there are levels of what everybody is capable of what everybody has time for and what everybody has in their budget. The best thing would be to buy mozzarella. You know, the best thing would be to make mozzarella yourself, or to buy mozzarella in the block and then shred it yourself and then go through the process of shredding it in your food processor. I don't do that. I buy my mozzarella pre-shredded. I use so much of it, and I make so much stuff all the time. I just don't have the time to do that. It's the same thing for mayonnaise. Do I make my own mayonnaise? Sometimes. Do I try to buy better mayonnaise? Yes, I do. My standard favorite is not necessarily keto friendly because it has soybean oil in it. But Best Foods mayonnaise has just been a staple in my fridge and I keep it in there. I try to make it on my own. Same thing with the shredded cheese. Like if I had the extra time or if I thought about it or if I got something on sale, I would shred it. But in general, I don't. Sorry. Okay. So we're going to just take our dough out of, where's my thing? We're going to take it out of our thing here. And just like dough, like bread dough or whatever you have, we're going to put that on here. We are going to either oil or wet our hands, and we're going to just form this. I like to form it into discs because they're just more manageable. You can form it into discs. You can do it into a log, and just do what works for you. I'm going to wet my hands. Again, you can use water or oil. And I'm just gonna pat this down. I'm gonna get this into, there's my knife. I'm gonna do this into 4 equal pieces. And now I'll do a little bit of olive oil. And I am going to form this into 4 discs. This you can keep in your refrigerator for a couple of days before you decide what you want to do with it. If you want to make a pizza, you can make 4 individual pizzas. Actually, this is more than 4 servings, so you would have to do the servings calculation on this. But here are our pre-made, batch prepared fathead dough. Get a little bit more oil on me. And that, my friends, this is what an apron is for, right? Okay, this is batch prepared fathead dough. And when I am ready to use it, I will take it out of the fridge and I will roll it out between 2 pieces of parchment paper into either pizza dough or into long strips, and I'll make fathead pigs in a blanket. And just so you know, I believe that you can freeze this because we are huge fans of pigs in a blanket, and I like to make pigs in a blanket. This is completely frozen, but it is a fathead pig in a blanket. This is raw dough that I've just frozen. And on one of those nights when I'm walking late and I'm exercising, or I'm stuck at the office and I can't get home to make dinner, I pull out my frozen pigs in a blanket and I pop them in a 350 to 400 degree oven for like 20 minutes. Bam, dinner is ready. So, huge fan of that. If you don't want to make your own fathead pigs in a blanket, you can buy a mix. It's by Rosette's Mix. And if you want to buy a pre-made mix that all you have to do is add a few things and then you can make your own bagels from this package, Rosette's Mix, and I have a discount code, but put Rosette's Mix in the comments and I will make sure that you get the link and the discount code. I think you get 10% off. So these I will wrap individually into a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to put these in the fridge for later. Let's finish up our soup. And then, you guys, we're almost done. It's been fun. Let me know if you guys have any questions or any comments or any suggestions. We're going to make sure that our soup is still heated all the way through. Oh, delicious. And the more we simmer this, we're going to simmer it for probably 20 to 30 minutes because we want our cauliflower to get nice and soft, and it's not there yet. But this is a really nice, chunky, hearty soup. And the last step is, and it's optional, you don't have to do this, we're going to add 1/2 cup of heavy cream to our sausage, pumpkin sausage soup. And that is a really nice flavor because we use spicy sausage. You don't have to use the spicy sausage. You can use plain sausage. You can use sweet sausage. But this is a beautiful, chunky, creamy, hearty soup for the winter. Okay, I'm going to let that continue to simmer here because I want the cauliflower to soften up a little bit. While that's doing that for just like a few minutes, I wanted to show you, because this is the magic of television. This, my friends, I made one earlier today. This, my friends, is a spinach, feta, onion, and mushroom quiche. And it's the same thing that's in the oven right now. So I have 2 of them. And this quiche, we're going to have it for dinner tonight. We're going to have it for lunch tomorrow. And I'm going to send some over to my mom's house, so she'll have some. But then I will freeze individual pieces of this. Freezing individual pieces of this is also a great way to batch cook, because I can pull a frozen one out and pop it in the microwave or let it thaw in like a 200-degree oven for half an hour. And it is a great piece. It's a great thing to have on hand. Okay, someone just asked me a question. Let's see. What is the pig meat you use in the pigs in the blanket? Susan, that's an interesting way to put it. Pig meat. I use 2 things for my pigs in a blanket. I use Applegate Farms uncured hot dogs, or Hebrew National all beef hot dogs. I like to buy, number 1, whatever on sale, and number 2, whatever has the best ingredients and lowest carbs. So those 2, Applegate Farms uncured hot dogs and Hebrew National all beef hot dogs, those are the hot dogs that we like to use. And then I also use a spicy Louisiana link sausage, and that's actually not Piper's favorite, that's Peter's favorite, and he calls them the spicy dogs because they're a spicy sausage wrapped in the pigs in a blanket. So I'll take a picture of one of those so you guys can kind of see what that looks like. All right, so I'm going to just cut a piece of quiche for you here so you can see how beautiful this is. We're going to have this quiche tonight with a big, beautiful salad. And this soup, we're not even going to eat it tonight. We're going to have it, I'm probably going to put most of it in the freezer, and then I'll bring some of it over to my brother and a friend that is not feeling so well. So that's why I'm doing all of this batch cooking. Oh my goodness. Okay. How gorgeous is this beautiful piece of quiche? So amazing. Okay, so that is our quiche. The other quiche is in the oven. Our fathead dough is done. And, there is our soup. So the cauliflower is not fully softened yet. So I'm going to just let that continue to simmer. Otherwise, I would ladle a bowl for you guys to see what that's like. I know there are a few people that were disappointed that we weren't doing any desserts tonight, but that's okay. These foods are delicious enough. So Susan just asked how many servings are in one quiche, and the quiche has 8 slices. If you wanted to make it to 10 slices or you wanted to make it to 6 slices, you could. You just have to adjust the carb count. But as the recipe is on the website, again, the Kellie Kitchen, Kellie with an IE, that's where all the recipes are. I'd love to see you there. That's where the recipes are, and that's where all the nutritional counts are too. I have a nutrition calculator that figures out all of that stuff on there. Okay, one last time, if you're interested in winning this cute little keto magnet, say Cute Keto Foods, Rebecca, make sure you get your address to me in your Facebook Messenger. Put your address in there so I can send you yours. But if you want to win one of these for your refrigerator, put Cute Keto Foods in the comments below, and I will do a drawing. If your name gets picked, I'm going to message you. So please check your messages so I can send this to you and get it in the mail. So thanks so much, you guys, for watching. Join my private Facebook group. It's called Low Carb Work Lunches and Snacks. I share meal plans and a lot of other crazy stuff that I'm up to. And I'd love to see you if you guys have any keto questions, any interesting things about hydration or caffeine or electrolytes or whatever. Just join me there, and I'd love to see you guys. So thanks for joining. I will see you guys next week. Bye.